love, blessings, and welcome to the Dasha Love Show. Woo, 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 woo. Where on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. EST, we interview incredible soulpreneurs who are revealing their very own secrets to success, to fulfillment, their struggles, everything that you and I are going through right now. So today, I am so excited to invite a very special friend of mine. He goes by Noah EON or Pavel. Now he's a DMT breathwork practitioner. He's got a movement. He's just an incredible soul who's changed so many lives for the better by helping them become happier and healthier from the inside. I want you all to put your hands together for Noah EON. Woo, woo. Yeah.
Put your hands up.
Welcome to the show, Noah EON.
Put him up, put him up.
Thank you. And I forgot to mention to the audience that this is one of your very own songs.
This used to be the intro song from back in the trance days. So
I love it.
You got the 432 hertz.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I just introduced you to the audience. I know you have a huge movement. You care about transforming people's lives through the breath, through many different modalities. So I would love it if you could shine in and tell us the magic you've been creating.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me here. I am super blessed because this life has really been hard and very, very crazy as for many of us. And really what I have going on is these set of toolboxes that have helped me to come back to who I am and that have helped me to kind of, leave that egoic self behind and leave that what society thought that we came here to do and we're going to say. And so really what I have going on is a combination of all of the different tools I've learned throughout my traveling and made simple. So brought into breathwork, meditation, sound healing, guidance, trauma healing, and so much more.
Yes. I'm so excited. And I want to welcome everybody who's watching on Just FM and on Roku TV. Welcome. Thank you so much for watching us tonight. We are here live with Noah EON, and he's got a huge movement, and he's about to share with us the tools that he's discovered that changed his life. But before he does, let us know a little bit about yourself, where you come from and where you live now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from Czech Republic, born and raised. I was there up until about 14 years of age, and then went to America as a foreign exchange student. And back then I went to Florida, never spoke English. It was one of those stories that the minute I could leave, I did. And I wanted to learn, English. And, after that, I was really heavily interested in being a professional athlete. And so I actually became a professional cyclist for about 5 years and traveled the world with that. And I got really sick. I had a Epstein-Barr chronic fatigue. I literally collapsed in a Czech national race and woke up in the hospital and had a major pit stop along the way, which is really what led me into biohacking, healthy lifestyle, taking charge of my own personalized health, and really hacking and finding all of these resources at that time.
So what was the sport that you were doing?
Road cycling.
Wow. And then how did you get hurt?
I literally, my system shut off. So it wasn't that I crashed, it was my immune system busted. And I used to have a company since 17 years old. I started trading between eBay and Alibaba because I had to figure out how to make money because cycling wasn't as great back then. And so at night I would be on a calls with my suppliers, and then in a day I would be racing. So it literally screwed me so bad that I completely collapsed.
Oh, so overexhausted.
Absolutely, yes.
Mm.
And then yeah, and then so I basically I grew up with shaman. So since I was 5 years old, I had this beautiful opportunity and mother that has taught me about spirituality and yoga and well-being. And you know, while I was an athlete, that wasn't cool. So I trying to really hide all of that while you know I would be visualizing each corner and how to race and you know using all of the different modalities. But it wasn't until after really I had these hardships that I moved to America again, and I started putting all the energy into business. And for quite some time, for about 5 years, I was just heavy opening Orange Theory fitness locations all around the country. And I came in at an early stage, and when there was only you know very few stores open. And within a short while I ended up running 8 different regions around the country, and
Wow.
you know had I don't know 70, 80 locations under my belt. And essentially during that time I've been committing myself to every 3 months I will go and do something completely ridiculous. And what that means is something
Ah.
spiritual, something deep and growing, right? Something that like at any point of time my mind would say no. It's a fuck no, no going in there. And so what I did is I did anything from samurai camp, I did a Zen master training. I've done 10 days in complete darkness without any food, no light in the middle of this cave. I did that 3 times actually.
Wow, how was that? How was that experience?
Game changer. That's really been my biggest shift in life. Think about, right? We're always exposed to lights. We're always exposed to thoughts and people, and all of a sudden, zero, none of that. So all that is left is you. And
Mm.
I won't lie, it can be a brutal thing with your mind, you know, until you make peace with that beautiful thing that we have. And essentially, I walked out of there the first time, and that's when I sold everything and I created the Noah movement, obviously, because you know, after you spend 10 days with yourself, you really start realizing what actually matters and why are we here and why am I here. And so, long story short, that was the cave.
And I can just feel the amount of joy that you have like exerting right now from your body, and it's so beautiful. Like it's not something that you can fake, or not something you can create. This is something that just is being. That's
Thank
so
you.
beautiful, beautiful. So tell us about your beautiful movement.
Yeah, no, so essentially, every 3 months when I got exposed to all of these different teachings and gurus and healers and shamans, and what happened to me, I start packaging and figuring out that there are better tools than others, and there are some tools that have a science behind them. There are some other tools that are complete nonsense, but for whatever reason it still works. And so essentially what I start doing is I created them into a module. I call it now BDM method, which is breath, dance, meditation. And that's kind of
Mm.
my immersive part of what I do. And originally I used to do conscious dance parties, a lot of aesthetic dance, but it wasn't really until I connected it with the breath and with sound healing, frequency sound specifically, that it started clicking, that it really works for people. And, you know, instead of these 10, 15 year long processes, it started happening within 1, 2, 3 hour sessions. And that's really what I've been about, is how can we speed up our growth? How can we, you know, bypass that hardships, that gutter? And so little by little, I start doing these immersive experiences, bringing it to music festivals and you know, nightclubs even, you know, thinking,
Woo!
about
Yes.
there. And yeah, and then it led into like a full-on workshops, then it led into retreats, and so that's kind of how this work has been, you know, categorized for me now. And I still love doing the music, I still love doing the shows, but I quit alcohol, I quit all of the things that I was lying to myself for. You know, I was this like two-sided Noah and Aeon in one body. That angel and the devil inside of our mind.
Like all of
And
us, yeah.
Yep. That's by the way the meaning. Noah and Aeon is the duality that we live in, and the main mission is to come to the center, to harmony.
To realizing that there's no duality.
Exactly. But boy, it was a journey. The left, the right.
So tell us. I want to bring you in. Tell us like one maybe dark moment that comes up that like, and you had to find your tools and use them against all odds, or like whether it was something that came from other people or something that came from inside of you. Like, can you recall any dark moment where you just wanted to give up on it, and how you got up and rose up again to create this empire and movement that you've created?
For sure. I mean, it really happened after the cave, which is so interesting. So on one hand, I was given this new lifestyle, this new opportunity to serve people, but on the other, that other old self that was still there had to go, and so it kind of, that whole pivotal moment have brought up to the surface all of those, bad.
Oh, hello, blessings, and welcome to the Dasha Love Show. Woo, 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 woo. Where on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. EST, we interview incredible soulpreneurs who are revealing their very own secrets to success, to fulfillment, their struggles, everything that you and I are going through right now. So today, I am so excited to invite a very special friend of mine. He goes by Noah EON, or Pavel. Now, he's a DMT breathwork practitioner. He's got a movement. He's just an incredible soul who's changed so many lives for the better by helping them become happier and healthier from the inside. I want you all to put your hands together for Noah EON. Woo, yeah.
Put your hands up.
Welcome to the show, Noah EON.
Put him up.
Thank you. And I forgot to mention to the audience that this is one of your very own songs.
This used to be the intro song from back in the trance days.
I love it.
You got the 432 hertz.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I just introduced you to the audience. I know you have a huge movement. You care about transforming people's lives through the breath, through many different modalities. So I would love it if you could shine in and tell us the magic you've been creating.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me here. I am super blessed because this life has really been hard and very, very crazy, as for many of us. And really what I have going on is these set of toolboxes that have helped me to come back to who I am, and that have helped me to kind of, leave that egoic self behind, and leave that what society thought that we came here to do, and we're going to say. And so really what I have going on is a combination of all of the different tools I've learned throughout my traveling and made simple. So brought into breathwork, meditation, sound healing, guidance, trauma healing, and so much more.
Yes. I'm so excited. And I want to welcome everybody who's watching on Just FM and on Roku TV. Welcome. Thank you so much for watching us tonight. We are here live with Noah EON, and he's got a huge movement, and he's about to share with us the tools that he's discovered that changed his life. But before he does, let us know a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and where you live now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from Czech Republic, born and raised. I was there up until about 14 years of age, and then went to America as a foreign exchange student. And back then, I went to Florida, never spoke English. It was one of those stories that the minute I could leave, I did. And I wanted to
Hi.
learn, English. And, after that, I was really heavily interested in being a professional athlete. And so I actually became professional cyclist for about 5 years and traveled the world with that. And I got really sick. I had a Epstein-Barr chronic fatigue. I literally collapsed in a Czech national race and woke up in the hospital and had a major pit stop along the way,
Mm.
which is really what led me into biohacking, healthy lifestyle, taking charge of my own personalized health, and really hacking and finding all of these resources at that time.
So
Now,
what was the sport that you were doing?
road cycling.
Wow.
So
And then how did you get hurt?
I literally, my system shut off. So it wasn't that I crashed, it was my immune system busted. And I used to have a company since 17 years old. I started trading between eBay and Alibaba because I had to figure out how to make money because cycling wasn't as great back then. And so at night I would be on a calls with my suppliers, and then in a day I would be racing. So it literally screwed me so bad that I completely collapsed.
Oh, so overexhausted.
Absolutely, yes.
Mm.
And then yeah, and then so I basically I grew up with shaman. So since I was 5 years old, I had this beautiful opportunity and mother that has taught me about spirituality and yoga and well-being. And while I was an athlete, that wasn't cool. So I trying to really hide all of that while I would be visualizing each corner and how to race and using all of the different modalities. But it wasn't until after really I had these hardships that I moved to America again, and I started putting all the energy into business. And for quite some time, for about 5 years, I was just heavy opening Orange Theory fitness locations all around the country. And I came in at an early stage, and when there was only very few stores open. And within a short while, I ended up running 8 different regions around the country, and
Wow.
had, I don't know, 70, 80 locations under my belt. And essentially, during that time, I've been committing myself to every 3 months, I will go and do something completely ridiculous. And what that means is something spiritual,
Ah.
something deep and growing, right? Something that at any point of time, my mind would say, no, it's a fuck no, no, no going in there. And so what I did is I did anything from samurai camp, I did a Zen master training. I've done 10 days in complete darkness without any food, no light in the middle of this cave. I did that 3 times actually.
Wow. How was that? How was that experience?
Game changer. That's really been my biggest shift in life. Think about, right? We're always exposed to lights. We're always exposed to thoughts and people, and all of a sudden, zero, none of that. So all that is left is you. And
Mm.
I won't lie, it can be a brutal thing with your mind, until you make peace with that beautiful thing that we have. And essentially, I walked out of there the first time, and that's when I sold everything and I created the Noah movement, obviously, because after you spend 10 days with yourself, you really start realizing what actually matters and why are we here and why am I here. And so, long story short, that was the cave.
And I can just feel the amount of joy that you have like exerting right now from your body, and it's so beautiful. Like it's not something that you can fake, or not something you can create. This is something that just is being. That's
Thank
so
you.
beautiful, beautiful. So tell us about your beautiful movement.
Yeah, no, so essentially, every 3 months when I got exposed to all of these different teachings and gurus and healers and shamans, and what happened to me, I start packaging and figuring out that there are better tools than others, and there are some tools that have a science behind them. There are some other tools that are complete nonsense, but for whatever reason it still works. And so essentially what I start doing is I created them into a module. I call it now BDM method, which is breath, dance, meditation. And that's kind of
Mm.
my immersive part of what I do. And originally, I used to do conscious dance parties, a lot of aesthetic dance, but it wasn't really until I connected it with the breath and with sound healing, frequency sound specifically, that it started clicking, that it really works for people. And, you know, instead of these 10, 15 year long processes, it started happening within 1, 2, 3 hour sessions. And that's really what I've been about, is how can we speed up our growth? How can we, you know, bypass that hardships, that gutter? And so little by little, I started doing these immersive experiences, bringing it to music festivals and you know, nightclubs even, you know, thinking
Woo!
about
Yes.
there. And yeah, and then it led into like a full-on workshops, then it led into retreats, and so that's kind of how this work has been, you know, categorized for me now. And I still love doing the music, I still love doing the shows, but I quit alcohol, I quit all of the things that I was lying to myself for. You know, I was this like two-sided Noah and Aeon in one body, that angel and the devil inside of our mind.
Like all of
And
us,
yep, yep.
yeah.
That's by the way the meaning. Noah and Aeon is the duality that we live in, and the main mission is to come to the center, to harmony.
To realizing that there's no duality.
Exactly. But
That's
boy,
amazing.
it was a journey. The left, the right.
So tell us, I want to bring you in. Tell us like one maybe dark moment that comes up that like, and you had to find your tools and use them against all odds, or like whether it was something that came from other people or something that came from inside of you. Like, can you recall any dark moment where you just wanted to give up on it, and how you got up and rose up again to
Yeah,
create this empire and movement that you've created?
for sure. I mean, it really happened after the cave, which is so interesting. So on one hand, I was given this new lifestyle, this new opportunity to serve people, but on the other, that other old self that was still there had to go. And so it kind of,
All of
that
those
whole, you know,
pivotal
hardships. And
moment
so
have
what
brought
happened
up to
was
the
I
surface
went
all
into
of
this
those,
very dark period when I got divorced. I lost a lot of business partners, lost tons of money. I almost went bankrupt when COVID hit, because of all of my businesses were either in a boutique fitness or in a group oriented, right? So all of that went off, and so for the last about 3 years, I'm actually coming out of, up until end of last year, it's been brutal. And so, you know, it really was leaving all of those things that I was talking about, but like now actually, you know, don't drink, because that is a poison, that is toxic for anybody. And so it was not necessarily the drinking alone, it was that toxic mind that kept on repeating those cycles that I could not move out of. And whatever was that, it was drugs, it was everything else with the EDM nightlife that, you know, it came with. So it was really, I left that whole scene essentially, and you know, moved now into this.
So
And
what was the last straw that you were like, enough is enough, I'm not gonna drink anymore? And do you think that you stopped forever, or do you think that maybe sometimes you find a way to enjoy it as opposed to completely cutting it off?
yeah, so it was exactly a year ago, little over a year ago. So New Year's in you know, 2021, I guess. But yeah, that's when I it was really a commitment. So I told myself, and with my girlfriend, we both you know, came together that we're gonna try 1 year. And then we realized that the first 3 or 4 months, it was hard, it was socially unacceptable, it was like what is wrong with you? When I went back to Czech and I try to be with my grandparents, and they're like, are you nuts? You know, it's like it's so socially it's so like socially accepted that they literally thought that I'm like going insane for not drinking. By the way, this is how fucked up our society is.
Yep, there
But
are norms, and if you don't fit into the norm, there must be something wrong with you.
yeah, and so yeah, so it was really like I was done, and then it triggered a whole nother year of a lot of these layers, a lot of these patterns that had to come out, and patterns of, you know, of truth, of lying to myself, not being truly following what my heart says, you know, on one hand saying something but then really not grounding it in. So it was a complex of a lot of things and negative emotions, you know, to work through.
Mm. Beautiful, beautiful. And now since you've crossed that bridge, does it feel like you have a lot more time and a lot more aligned and a lot more energy since changing the
Yeah,
lifestyle?
it's interesting. I'm still in like this very transformative moment, to be honest. It's like as hard as we go, like we keep on going from city to city to country. I mean, it's been insane. I think we've been to 7 countries in the last like 2 months, doing our work. But it's been very hard energetically. It's been very hard, like just in your head, and being, as much energy you keep on pulling from people, it's not a easy mission, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's easier to go to the work, do your business, go back home, put your legs up and say goodbye. This mission never ends, this text messages never end, people keep on asking questions, needing help. So it's really, being in a service is something.
Mm, I do know. I do know. Have you learned, I mean, have you learned to set up like good boundaries for yourself in terms of when people are getting in touch? Because I know people want to ask questions, they also need help. Like, have you set up boundaries around like your schedule because you're always on the go and like so you can have some time by yourself without getting bombarded with work?
Totally. We try as much as possible, especially with like giving back to the body. I mean, we like do so much. So we, meaning with my partner, we've been on this road together for the last like 2 years, just nonstop. And so we've definitely come to a place where we do tons of IVs and biohacks and breath, and don't start a day without a solid routine. I mean, literally, that's, I think, one of the biggest boundaries is nobody can really touch phone from us when it comes to waking up in the morning. So like the first hour is purely coming to the center, and then
Mm,
usually the last hour of the day, same thing,
mm,
coming down and doing meditation and really going up to the ether to be able to ground it back down.
mm.
But because we always change time zone, so people keep on blowing you up anywhere you go.
Mhm, mhm. But boundaries important, right? So you can,
Mhm.
that's good, that's good. Routine's amazing. And for all the people out there that are in the wellness industry, because I know a lot are struggling to figure out how to make money, how did you kind of break free from that whole idea? Or did you have to change your relationship with money, or what was it that was the shift?
Yeah, I mean, it was the hardest part of my life, basically. I mean, when I decided that I'm gonna go and help people, that's when I completely became broke.
I know, I was there. I was there.
And so it's to me, it's such an interesting dichotomy, because the one hand, like, to service, like, I would do this for free anytime, like that's it's the hardest thing. And me coming from a very successful entrepreneur and exiting out of many different companies, at first I had that wealth build up, so I didn't care for my energy and time spent. But when I start selling all of that off, and when things start not going so well because I wasn't paying attention to these businesses anymore, I didn't care for them. I was like all so into Noah Aeon and the whole movement. That's when I really start like, oh shit, I like have to also eat, I have to sleep. Like those are things that are still part of it. And so that's really the last like 2 years. I literally had to reshape my relationship with money, reshape my acceptance to receive money, because that was a really interesting one. Like, I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to accept money for this type of work. And so a lot of rewiring, rebranding in your own brain.
Mhm.
And honestly, even up until today, so the way I've set it up is that I have a passive income from companies, and then I don't have to worry so much about how we structure these workshops and retreats. And then we do retreats that are very expensive, so we do series of very expensive stuff, and then we do series of almost free stuff, or completely at no cost to the people that cannot afford what we're doing.
Cool,
And so
cool. So
that's the balance.
you created a system, a component that's online that you give to people and brand and exposure, so you can have more people coming to the retreats, and then the higher ticket retreats, right?
Exactly.
Oh,
Yep.
that's cool. That is beautiful. That is so amazing. That's good. So what was the like the biggest story you think that you had to change? Like, was it this from your mom, your dad, or like somewhere in the past, or?
You know, honestly, as much as I've always been in my power, part of this evolution was feeling worthy of myself.
Mm,
And as sad as it was, I like literally had to look into my eyes, and state it out loud. Like I did not feel like I was worthy of winning. I did not feel like I, could receive this through this other form. And when I shifted that, and when I, finalized and ended all of the relationships that were taking energy from me, whatever it was, from business or partner, and that's really been that cleanup. I cleaned that all up, and then I opened up to this new, or aligned to this new energy.
mm.
And so yeah, so clean up and then bring the new stuff in.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, because I know a lot of people make a separation between what they're already doing for other people and they consider it to be free. Like, why would anybody pay me for that? And I'm like, oh, well, this is what coaches do. Like, it's an energetic exchange. And it's like people stay in these jobs while at the same time they're helping people. They don't realize that what they're doing, helping people, is their life's mission, and they can just shift and use all their energy toward it and then get that energy back in a feedback loop so they can keep giving.
Yep.
It's so beautiful, right?
No, and so this is kind of where like this whole thing came out of. And so I've started this about like maybe year or two ago, and I created this thing called general awesomeness. And so that's the lifestyle that I teach in the retreats, and I literally call it general awesomeness because I believe that everybody deserves to be awesome all times, and we came here not to hurt, not to experience all of the guilt and pains and fears. We obviously can, but it is not something we have to. And I was one of them. I kept on learning through the gutter. I like literally hit every wall that I could in the last whatever lifetime until I again was worthy and understood that there is also love, there's joy, there's fun ways to actually learn from, and that goes in everything. But then it was this acknowledgement of it. And so just so you know, so in general awesomeness, I teach that there's three levels or layers of existence. It's the me, which is yourself or myself, where there's the body, the physical, the mind, the mental, the emotional, and then the spirit. Each of them are its own separate bodies. So the way I teach it is that each of them need their own food, each of them need their own work. And then the way I've kind of hacked my life was that I categorize each of them, and then I start working with the mind, for example, right? The mind is this beautiful tool that can be the best friend and keep on creating these mental cycles that think of you as the best and the strongest and the highest, or it can completely take you down. And so it was the acknowledgement and really this deep work of truly asking yourself, what does my mind think right now? What does my mind think about myself? What does my mind think about another? And then I start writing these things down, and whatever was not for the highest good of the world, I rewrote it. I literally took a whole life of books to start working with each of these topics. Same goes for emotions, right? Emotions is the direct connection to the spirit. Emotions are what makes our life feel real. And if we keep on feeling anxiety and fear and pain, those are not emotions we have to experience. And so, literally rewrote them, reharmonized them, refuel them, right? Because emotions, they love singing and dancing and doing things where you move into timelessness. So it's like, how do we take more of that time to treat that body as a physical body, you know?
Wow, that's
So,
beautiful. Beautiful. I
so
like it how you put it into the different categories and then you cater to them individually.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes. And it's so think about it as the me is the single consciousness, right? So that's that anything that you can control about yourself. Then it moves into the we, which is the collective. And so in the collective part, I break it down into the environment around you. So what is it that you're drinking and eating, the resources, the air, anything that affects the me, right, from the outside. But then also, what are the relationships that you have? That we, once we connect, that most powerful thing on earth is how can we collectively come together, right, as one, and move from that coherent space to lift the earth higher. And so that's the we. And then same thing, I would write out the relationships that take from me versus that are in a mutually beneficial relationship, and then
Mm.
exit out the ones that simply don't belong to me, and they sometimes just disappear as well because your frequency goes up.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that. And sometimes when it happens in the moment, like it happens because of really silly reasons. And it's like, what? Like, what? I didn't even. And then it's like later down the road, you see why you needed to be like, "Arr!" And the universe will provide something that will disconnect you. That at the moment you're like, what? That doesn't even mean anything. But it's like your energies are not in sync because you're not serving each other.
It's so true. And one thing I've learned, that there's these 7 stages of relationships. And what happens is that there's that stage one, that is that romance, that butterfly feelings, the one that we're excited, something new. And then, by the way, these stages can go for anything. It can go for relationship, it can go for a job, it can go for anything, essentially, right? There's that first excitement. Second stage is that commitment. When we commit, new hire paperwork, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever part we've now committed. Third stage is this broken grounds. And in the broken grounds is when we start nitpicking, seeing things that we did not see early on. For instance, like, oh my gosh, he acts just like his mother whenever, X, Y, and Z happens. The fourth stage is ordeal. And it's that, I like to call it the should I stay or should I go? Where you have those up and downs. I love him, I hate him, I love her, amazing, great job, poor execution, whatever. It's this like up and down that sometimes can be a 20-year long journey. Now
Mm.
the fifth stage is a collapse. That's when you are done, you have tried so much, so hard, it's over. And essentially, that's when people break up. That's when most people quit in that fifth stage. Now,
Mm.
sixth stage, that's when you surrender. That's the first level of acceptance. That's when you kind of start no longer pointing at this is your fault, this is your mistake, but people start taking it into that me, this is my responsibility. You lift it up
Mm.
higher. And seventh stage is true love. It's a true harmony when it's a collective we consciousness, and we are working not just on behalf of another, right? We now are actually taking responsibility for not just ourselves, but also for the whole. And so that's the we consciousness. And
Mm.
the third layer, or the third stage that I teach about, is the supra consciousness, and that's beyond Earth. That's what is this universe that we've been, brought into. That at the end of the day, that dichotomy, how much of a say do we actually have when it comes to this big zoomed out scope of our life? So me,
Mm.
we, and be.
Wow, repeat that last sentence you said.
So me, we, and be. Those are the 3 layers of the
Me,
general
me,
awesomeness.
and B. I love that. That is so cool. How long did it take you to come up with these beautiful programs?
Well, so it really started with the physical. So for me, it was like, how do I hack the body, right? Then I realized, well, what's the body without the mind, and how do I connect that center into this? And by the way, the way I love this technology, your body is the hardware, your mind is the software, and just like the computer has to be connected to the internet to be able to upload, download new software. So do
Uh-huh.
we have to meditate and match the frequency, right, with the other slower, subtle parts of our existence. Now, whenever we upload or download new apps, we can just simply hold the app, exit out, and then it's gone. And so that's the work on that emotional, mental body, viewing it as our apps. And the apps either serve us, work for us, make us better, or the apps, we spend way too much time on them and they are not making us better. So it's maybe time to reinstall some of these apps, so to speak.
Mhm.
So I've started coming up with these things kind of like from a computer side, and I was like, if a computer is an extension of human, there is probably a lot that we can learn from that whole coding of brain or mind body connection. So that's where I really started. Then it moved into meditation, and like I really was inspired by the gurus and the shamans and all of the different work of the spirit. And it wasn't really until I healed myself from all of this chronic fatigue and Epstein-Barr virus that I start really thinking that there's so much more. And so you've heard of, what is it called, that little Maslow or something, pyramid of
Maslow's
emotional,
hierarchy
Maslow,
of needs,
yeah,
or my hierarchy of
of
needs.
needs. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you got it. So it's like that: food, clothes, shelter,
Mm-hmm.
emotions. So there's actually a lot to it, right? Without that baseline, we really don't see spirituality as something that we care about,
Oh, hold on, let me, sorry about that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. So spirituality, some people have all kinds of different ideas of what spirituality is. Would you shine in a little bit of what your take on spirituality? Because I know some people, they have their job, they have their family, and they put spirituality into another bucket. What is your intake on what spirituality is? And I know it's a loaded question, so.
No, I love the question because honestly, it's like one of my biggest missions of waking people up, that it's the complete flip side down. I mean, our spirit comes first. The body is just a navigator or a puppet, really, for the spirit to anchor down into. And so, I like this vision where when you look at your soul, when you want to connect to your spirit, right? In a psychic school, they teach you that you kind of bring all your intention from the base of your feet all the way through your body up here for about 8 feet, oh I'm sorry, 8 inches above your head. And now think about your soul as an iceberg. When you see an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, it's very small, right? Like all the way on top, versus the base of the iceberg is this vast, huge space. So that's your spirit, that's your soul if you reverse it. So your physical body is the tip of the iceberg, and then the soul is that huge mass that's above you. And so now that whole rounds, when people start really meditating, slowing things down, going into a breath work and really using these tools, they realize that none of the things that we're actually doing here at the end of the day matter. It's all about the essence and the state that we are integrating throughout any of these lessons. So long story short, I mean, it's a complete reverse, and it's the saddest thing that I daily see, that people literally use spirituality as a self-help thing that I need when I am completely fucked up, instead of that is life. So why would I ever get fucked up if I can be within and fully integrated and connected, powerful being that everybody deserves to be?
Exactly. So spirituality is just being here on earth. You have this life, you can breathe. All of this is spirituality. It's not separate, and it's not a lifeline. It's just, we live in the spirit. That's all there is to it, and that's so beautiful. I loved your explanation about soul. That was really nice. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's kind of my goal, is like, how do we make these things simple, Because a lot of times you go to different places and people are seeking some sort of start, right? But really what spirituality is, what all these tools are, like there's no woo wow to it. It's actually quite simple, and it's quite scientific if you actually look into it from just the base of the breath alone, right? And so, like, it's obvious our breath is the gateway to our other states, right? Most people live in a beta thinking mind, always thinking about the future and the past and what am I going to do next. And when you slow it down, you move into that alpha creative or theta, that subconscious mind, that where things start shifting. But the only thing that I find so hard with working with people is to prioritize that frequency shift, that frequency match, because it's not going to happen from that hyped up high energy, I need to do things, right? It's going to happen from, I am this essence, I am in this beautiful peaceful state, and I can move from that place to do all the things. But the things at the end of the day will happen for you when you become it, when you embrace it. And that's that be do have paradigm.
And that's what I noticed, is that, like, you know what you have to do, and you have your to-do list, but the way that things are gonna get done is gonna be very flowy and at the right time. And sometimes people say no and things shift, and it's like, okay, wasn't meant to be right now. And then like after a while, you see when it does happen and you look at the time, you look at the date and everything is just so perfect. And it's like, oh, okay, just because I flowed with it, I didn't get upset that things were shifting so fast. I see the magic unfolding just at the right time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Actually, what if we did like a 3-minute little exercise to um,
sure.
draw people in. So I don't care where you are, make sure that you're sitting or laying down. So don't stand up, and do not drive. Very important doing this. But you can do this anytime you need a little quick hack. You need to come back. And so the way I love to work and look at life is that I go into the solar plexus, that center, the gut. Then you move into your heart, that beautiful, powerful, emotional body. And then you affirm it by your brain. And brain is only an affirmation of what you feel in your gut, not the reverse. So if we can, let's just breathe deep. So just do a few deep inhales. So inhale into your nose, exhale out of your mouth. Deeper on inhale, no force on exhale. And just charge up your body, follow that belly, move it into your chest, all the way into your head with each breath, just long, deep saturation. Focus on inhaling new energy, and now inhale and exhale into your solar plexus. Now, as you're breathing, I want you to breathe a little bit faster and a little bit deeper. Now, give me final 5 deep breaths. 4. Keep on activating that solar plexus for 3. Final 2. And 1. Inhale deep. Hold your breath and just squeeze your lower abdomen, your upper abdomen, your bathroom muscle. Lock it in, activate that solar plexus right inside. Feel this little ball of light, sense this little grounding. Relax your body and exhale. Move into your heart. If you want to put your hand on your heart, you can. The other hand on your solar plexus. Open up that levels of gratitude for yourself. Sense, rewire your brain into what am I grateful for today. Inhale, slow. Exhale, release. Connect to your heart, open up that heart. And to finally connect also into your mind, into your brain. And just sense yourself how you bring that brain into your heart and that solar plexus also into your heart when you bridge all 3 of your brains into one, so we can be heart-centered, heart-led, and freaking amazing. Put a smile on your face because you can, and just use this time to be you, more you.
Woo! And thank you all for doing it with us on Just FM, on the radio, on TV, on Roku TV, on live Facebook. We're everywhere. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, that was amazing. I could feel like a tingling on my right foot. That was so cool.
Yeah, and so for everybody, it's just, deep breaths. This is what we did is just a simple power breathing exercise. I mean, I teach about 20 different breathing techniques, and so it's really at whatever time you need to use what. And remember, brain can only focus one thing at a time. So when you put a full, pure focus on you, on breath, on this energy, you can start feeling, you can start actually not just talking about what could happen, but like you will be this being that is in power, that it's not somewhere far away anymore.
Mm-hmm. And this breath work technique you can use anytime if you're getting anxious or antsy, or you need a break instead of going out and doing a cigarette break or whatever you use as a coping mechanism. It's like you don't got to do anything. You just sit in your chair, right, and just use a breathing technique.
Absolutely.
Right. That's so fun. How did you decide that like breath work? Because there's so many different modalities. So how did you decide that breath work, meditation, and movement is your thing?
Yeah, so about I think 5-6 years ago, I went into the Wim Hof excursion, and I had such a powerful experience there that I was like, wow, I mean, this is as strong as any psychedelics, as any plant medicine, and it's actually even stronger because it doesn't have side effects like, you know, serotonin depletion and beyond. And so I start really working with breath to a point where I like don't miss a day, like literally there has been very few days that I missed. And so Wim Hof, I went on to do the training. I became an instructor, and it was really a great, like a leadway into this. And then during that time, I was already DJing, right? That was my thing. I was touring through festivals and all the nightclubs, and I was so dead and tired, and I didn't feel like I want to continue in that same way. I wanted to bring more of that consciousness to it. So I start incorporating breath into my musical sets. Like I would literally drop it into like a melodies, and then I would ask everybody, just close your eyes, go into your heart. And I would literally start guiding people as if I'm in like a yoga class while I was doing an EDM rave show. And then I was like, wow, this, even though people are really heavily high, this is actually great because they can feel it on top.
So you brought consciousness to the drinking
To the rave.
atmosphere through the DJing.
Yep. And so, and then I was like, you know, there could be a programming. So just like if you take a yoga teacher training, right? You have like the sun A, sun B, sun C, and you know, it's all structured. So I start putting all of this into a structure where there was a sound, there was some dance, there was some presence, and all of these tools, it just start making sense to put it in at different times. And after, you know, you've done like thousands of these over the last like 6 years, you start really knowing and feeling what works and what doesn't. And so that's what I'm doing now.
That is so beautiful. I bet some of the most fulfilling parts of this is the actual stories of transformation that you receive from people.
Oh my gosh, I mean, it's really what keeps you going, you know. It was like yesterday I did an event at the Wisdom in LA, and I like really wasn't feeling it like at all, you know. I was quite tired myself, and we just got back from Hawaii, like jet lagged as well. And then, you know, I show up there, take some nootropics, and you know, at the end, the amount of overwhelming change for people was so beautiful. So it's something that I so appreciate, and it keeps me going for sure.
That is so beautiful. I can feel that in my heart. Now for everyone out there that's watching that is still in corporate, and by the way, thank you all for watching on Roku TV and Roku on Just FM and Roku TV and on our channels. For everybody out there that's still in corporate that is wanting to break free and actually do something bigger than themselves, do you have any inspirational words of wisdom or any kind of inspiration for them?
Oh my gosh, so much. I was one of them, and I continuously. So when I was still leading my own employees in the companies, I literally, it became a mission as to how to really define their why and define their mission, and how they can actually feel like they are, you know, here doing a higher purpose. And so, you know, the number one thing I would say, so everybody has this calling, and really most people are not happy when it comes to corporate jobs and corporate places. And so what I find is, first, what can you define about yourself that it's actually telling you that something is wrong with this job? Because what I've noticed is, no matter where you go, even if you start the job that you love, all of the same issues, they will end up coming to you again very shortly, very quickly, in a different form and different way. So first, before you leave job, before you make any changes, really define what in that job is triggering you that you still have to work through. So that way, while you're starting to maybe spend 30 to 60 minutes a day on your dream job and on your dream passion, start working in a parallel. So that way you don't just quit, and you don't just like leave all of that security behind, but you actually really find acceptance, find surrender in whatever it is, in whatever people are there first, so you actually can complete the lesson. Otherwise you've done it all wrong. Now I break my life into 3 segments. So there's passion, purpose, and legacy. My passion is my music. my purpose is the retreats, workshops, and whatever I can be of help. And my legacy is businesses, investments, and more of that passive income. And so when you break it down, you know, a lot of people get so settled on being a one thing, and that's like the one thing they have to do, but they don't realize there's so many aspects of us. You know, there's that diva inside of you. There's also that
Uh-huh.
that sad girl inside of you. There's also that freaking shark inside of you. And so no matter who you are and who you choose to, you know, bring on, it's really about the essence and isness of being, you know, in your beautiful power of no matter what that is and how that shapes like. And so yeah, so before you quit your job and before you move on, just really finish that chapter, move on from that, and then go into the next.
Yeah. Did you create a vision when you were breaking free, or did you jump? How did you do it?
Well, see, I try to jump, but I jumped with also all of the liabilities, and so that snapped me back, and so that's why I do not recommend doing it this way. I essentially, you know, left the dark room and decided to, you know, completely forget about all my companies and businesses. But then, you know, on some of these businesses, I have 10-year leases that are on personal guarantee on me. So absolutely wouldn't just fully jump, making sure that there is a closeout and there is an understanding about the closeout as well.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you could choose a couple of mentors, and I'm guessing Wim Hof is one of them, but ones that like you look up to and you're like, this is kind of how I see my future, except I'm a little more multi-dimensionally because I have the music, the DJing. So are there any people out there that you're like, this is kind of like somebody that I look up to and I wanna be kind of like that?
Yes. So not so much that I well look up to, but very much so love it as a resource for me to go to and to learn from. So who's really changed my life is Jas Muhin. Jas Muhin is a beautiful, amazing teacher from Australia who is a breatharian, and she has been breatharian for 25 years. She doesn't eat or drink. There is a crazy movement around the world that you can be solely nourished by this other form of energy, and that's, by the way, the retreat is an initiation into this lifestyle, that 10 days. And so I've taken many different courses. I became an ambassador of peace under her, and a lot of my lifestyle and a lot of teachings come from her. And so she's not really known in our part of the world, and she works a lot with in Asia, in Brazil, so she's really
So no food, or she no food, no drink?
no physical food and
Oh,
no yeah, but the most
water,
important
right?
part,
Is she on water?
she doesn't have to drink water either, or she doesn't. And the most important part to switch, and this is out there, right? This is crazy. At first I was like,
Wow,
what the fuck
cool.
is this? But when you go in there, when you start noticing and when you start learning, I mean, this is a whole episode on just how to be you know, nourished by prana. But for those people that are interested, because I know you are there and it always sparkles an interest, like, how is this possible? It is possible because you stop fasting, but you start just switching the forms of your fuel. So from physical food, meaning whatever we eat and drink, you start shifting it inside into that love, into that light that each and every single one of us have. But the most important thing is you got to match the frequency with it. And so the whole thing is about slowing down, you know, into that theta, into that alpha state, so that way you're not nourished by that, you know, sacred chakra, or that ground, you know, chakras of our world. And so more time you spend in that, less you actually need to eat, less you will require the density type experiences in your life.
So she spends a lot more time meditation and very chill activities because she doesn't need fuel to create and do things.
Correct. So everything is how you spend your time. And so she focuses on these 8 points of Lush's lifestyle. And essentially, that's part of it I've taken into the general awesomeness lifestyle. I just innovated a little bit because hers is quite, uh, new agey in a sense, and I think we live in a world where you know there's biohacking, there's a lot of other resources, so I've combined it with some of the cutting edge science. But when you live and spend more time within these 8 points, you start shifting your entire life starts shifting. So yeah, so she's been like a very powerful mentor to me.
Mm,
um, I also love Dolores Cannon. I don't know if you are
yeah, yeah, I
familiar,
heard of her. Yeah, yeah.
but I've literally listened to all of her books because it's so fascinating to me. She, you know, uses quantum hypnosis. It's a very specific hypnotherapy, and she records people while they're in hypnosis, and then she uses them as a vehicles of being able to access other lifetimes on other planets, on how in a future, in a past. She has a conversations with Nostradamus. I mean, it's mind blowing. So a lot of I wanted to do something different because I think it would be interesting for others to, you know, search for something new and different.
That is so cool. So you've managed to combine your meditation, the breath work, these new practices with the music, right? Because you
Mhm.
said that so the whole thing is cohesive now, and that your passion is together with your purpose, right?
You got it. So now do pretty much all of it at once, and then we either do the more of a experience-driven experiences, or it's a retreat workshop where it's lecture-based, so people can actually learn more how to integrate all of these fundamental tools into everyday life.
This is so beautiful. And you said you were in a relationship, right? Are you guys working together?
Yes, very much so.
So it sounds to me like you have your 3 areas of life pretty dialed in: your health, your wealth, and your relationships.
Absolutely. But it's
Because
an
you're living in spirit.
Yeah, no, it's been honestly, so Fairy, my girlfriend, it's been like the biggest blessing of my life because it like brought this new love and joy for life, and so it's so crazy to be able to operate with another person and yet still live in service.
On the same mission. So for all the people out there that think that they need to separate their work and their relationships, what do you got to say to them?
Well, you know, everybody's case by case. So I really think I'm just like so lucky that I found her because I've had so many relationships that were totally not working this way and were much hard.
Do you think it's lucky, or perhaps you did the work so you
I
got the
finally did
reward?
the work, yeah. Totally. No, it's definitely you know a combo. But yeah, I think you know with relationships, I mean, it's the same thing. Like they at the end of the day, there's two ways to learn. It's either the hardships and or it's the easiness and the joy. But it's really important to understand like where that relationship is connected from, because a lot of relationships might be in a different, you know, layers, like intellectual versus sexual versus maybe combination. And so I think it's such a, I wouldn't really give advice as much as I would say to really truly discover me, that me part, so that way when you work with your own thoughts and your emotions, no matter who comes into your space, you'll be able to intuitively recognize whatever it's going to serve you or not, you know,
Mhm.
so that when you move to the we, it can be a beautiful joyous experience.
That is so beautiful. And here, I'll give you another shout out for having all your areas dialed in. Woo, 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 woo. And you told me you have a very special gift for all the beautiful souls that are watching this from around the world right now. Will you let us know what it is?
Yes. So I believe we gave 30 days of free on-demand library on our website. So we have a live on-demand library where there's breathwork recordings, meditations, basically all that we've talked about. We have it beautifully done in a short, long version, so to whatever time people have. And then we also are giving 20% off of our courses. There's three of them right now, and uh, we have many more to come. And yeah, if you want to get these, it's at the noaaon.com, noaaon.com, and use Dasha Love 100 for the on demand, and then Dasha Love 20 for the courses.
Yay! Woo! Thank you, 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 thank you.
No, thank you.
This has
And
been
everybody here.
so much fun, and you know, as when we touch one person, we touch them all. So I'm just so grateful that you are here, that you've dedicated this time to share your gift and your energy, and it's so appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for what you're doing in the world.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. I'm going to provide all the links to these beautiful gifts that we have and the discounts in the emails and in the Facebook, so you can look out for that. But everybody, give a hand to our beautiful guest today. Woo! Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if they have any questions, how can they reach you? If anybody's watching.
So, easiest if you have any questions or any that we're doing in the upcoming retreats, it's info@noaaon.com or NOAAON official for any social media.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you have a fantastic night out there. And I'm grateful, and you are amazing. And thank you for what you're doing for the world. Truly inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all so much for being here. I am so excited to be a host of this beautiful show on Just TV, on Roku, and on our Facebook Live this Wednesday, every Wednesday for another 20 weeks. What we do is we interview adventurous soulpreneurs as they share their secrets of how they stepped into the most beautiful life ever, how they learned to break free from the stories of their past and create a brand new, delicious, chocolate-covered strawberry life for themselves. So join me next Wednesday and for the next 20 weeks at 10 p.m. EST as we continue to interview beautiful souls living their true purpose, their passion, and creating abundance, doing what they love, making this world a better place. I am Dasha Love, and this is the Dasha Love Show. Woo! Play me some music, babe. Woo! And I hope that you all who are watching this right now, that you remember the most important thing in life, which is to get up, to dance, to move your body, to sing, and to just enjoy yourself. Are you on dance with me? Dasha Love Show. Dasha Love Show. And if you guys have any questions or comments, or you want to reach out to me directly, don't hesitate to contact me through my website, dasha.love. And you can go check out a bunch of beautiful things that we're doing, the books, the music, the interviews, and all of this love through www.dasha.love. And a huge shout out and a huge thank you to all the participants and everybody who's been making this magic happen around the world. I just want to remind you all that you are loved. You're amazing. And you have gifts and talents that make this world a better place. So I hope that today is that day where you heard something that inspired you to live your soul's purpose, to heal yourself, to transform your life. And I hope that for the next 20 weeks, as we interview these beautiful soulpreneurs, that you get fueled to take the next steps, to truly transform your life, to create heaven on earth, because heaven on earth is created right here. So you're all so amazing. And if you want to be notified about the upcoming shows, please go to dashaloveshow.com